What on guys, Commander, and welcome to a new video on PC Building Simulator. Now, as you can see, we've got a bit of a different change of environment, and that is because we've had another update. Now, it's only a small update. There's nothing else that's been added into this update aside from this new workshop. However, we have got something else that I want to show off in this video, but we'll deal with that later. It's only just because I was going to do this separate thing that we got a bit later on that we're going to show off in just its video just on its own, but since this is this new workshop's come out, I thought, you know what, I might as well just add it in all at once, because this isn't going to take me that long. Now, what have we got in here? Now, as you can see, it's an NZXT Workshop, and I'm not going to lie, I quite like the look of this. Now, I always said that the Razor Workshop was my favourite, just because of how, like, different it is. Like, the disadvantage with the ROG Workshop is that it's still very similar to the one we had to start off with, but you know, and the Razor Workshop very seemed like a work style area. It seemed like a workbench. You know, you could surround yourself in PCs, you know, all four, you know, front, back, left, and right. But whereas with the ROG Workshop, for example, it's very much like on one side. So again, it's really good for things like we were doing in the previous videos, like experimentation, stuff like that. However, for things like just building systems and smacking them together and things like the campaign and whatnot, it wouldn't work as well, because you sort of, it'd be nice. It's nice to have like a surrounding workshop area, so you can go like from one PC to the other relatively similarly. And this workshop site is technically neither, because this is more like an experimentation workshop where you would put random PCs together one by one. Because as far as the workflow is concerned, like, this wouldn't be very good with a this wouldn't be very particularly good for the career, because if you're working on like more than one PC at one time, you're gonna have to just move across each bench one by one. You know, you can't just go in a circle and just swerve around them. What this looks like is if you had like 4 or 5 different people doing a competition and building a PC, like whoever, like, it's a competition, like who can build the best PC or who can build the PC the best, like with least amount of errors. You got your judge over there, which is the main system, which is the main the judge of everything, and then you got your 3 competitors. That's what it seems like, because it's not like, it's like you're one person here, one person there, and one person there. So it doesn't seem like a workflow. It doesn't seem like a workflow environment. It seems very much like a classroom. You got your teacher there with his beastie PC. I don't even know what I've got in this thing. 900k. What do I have in this? Because I'm playing on this is on the career mode, by the way, because for some reason the update corrupted the free build mode for this workshop. I don't know why, but free build won't boot up in this workshop. I haven't got a clue why. But anyway, so what have I got in this PC? I've got a Maximus X Hero Wi-Fi card. I've got 900k, 64 gigs of RAM, 1080 Ti's, and some RGB, because everybody needs RGB. So anyway, so what have we got in here at the moment? So we've got our main workstation. We've also got, something I noticed is we've got some more, we've got some HyperX stuff. So we've got some HyperX keyboards and mice. Maybe not. We've got our Asus ROG keyboard, ROG mouse. We've got some HyperX mouse pads. And have we got any more monitors? No, just the 2 ROG ones. So yeah, nothing majorly different. These are the HyperX single mouse pads. But aside from that, not anything different along the customization of like monitors in that front. As far as the shelves are concerned, we've got just a boxes for NZXT water coolers and cases, which is a welcome collection because it's different from what we've had in the previous 2. The first one was, well, the first 2 were mainly just headsets and keyboards. So it's a welcome addition to actually see some PC components, like a keyboard, like PC cases and coolers and fans. You know, and I appreciate that with NZXT, they don't make that many different PC components. Like, you don't see any like NZXT like motherboards or keyboards or headsets or whatever. There might be a few, but nothing that's completely out there. So it's a little bit like I don't mind that it's all covered in the same stuff, because there's not a lot of stuff that NZXT make in that regard. I know they make loads of coolers and loads of cases, and that's where they get most of their money off of. But as far as like motherboard, CPUs, and that RAM or whatever, they don't make stuff like that, so I can sort of understand it. But I would like them to make, let's say, like I've said in the past 2 videos that I've done reviewing these workshop DLCs. I wish they'd have done they'd do like an MSI workshop, for example, and have things like headsets, keyboards, mice, motherboards, coolers, anything that they make that's, cases, anything they make that's PC related, have it plastered along the walls and not have it all the same. So, that's just the way that I think personally. Again, I might be there might be a reason why they can't do it, or it's just like workflow, and it might be easier for them just to do it like this. We've got some power supplies down there, which is a nice welcome collection as well. But that's just the way that I like a variety. They've got some NZXT bottles here, tea bottles. But I like these little environment things. This is something that we've lacked in the previous 2. I'm not sure, do they have it in the Razer Workshop? Anything like that? I don't think so. Well, they had the display thing with all their keyboards on, which I think was quite cool. But we've got environmental stuff here. I would have liked if they had one down on this end, but I can sort of see why they didn't, because it's quite a bulky thing over there and it might block the way here, maybe. But even so, it's a pretty nice workshop. It's very basic and it's very simple, but it's, in all fairness, having it just 2 colors, purple and white, maybe bits of black and silver and what have you, but having it made just black and purple and white actually works really quite well. And I'm not sure if purple and white is NZXT's trademark colors, because as we know, they do red and black and blue and white and stuff like that. I've got black and white here. I think if you look, I think their box is more just purple and white, which I assume, which probably means it is their trademark stuff, their trademark colors. But I like it. It's a really nice workshop. We've had 2 workshops, the Razer one and the ROG workshops, which are really in your face. Very there's a lot going on. With the Razer, you got screens all over the place. You've got keyboards, headsets, and everything all plastered across the walls. And you got ROG with moving images. There's Republic of Gamers streaming all across above your head. Lots of stuff going on. But this is just relatively simple. It's just a simple workshop. But it doesn't make it any less bad. It probably makes it even better, really. Like I said just a second ago, even though I really do like the Razer Workshop, and I said that was probably my favourite out of the 2 when I did the ROG review, this one's probably going to be my favourite just because of how simple and nice it looks. It's very basic. It's not bland. There's still a lot going on, although it's very simple. So I like it like that. But anyway, enough of me ranting on about how much I love this this workshop. I've got something else to show you, and I will just cut ahead in the video and get that loaded up. So I'll be back in a second. Right guys, I'm back now. We're in the original workshop, and there's a reason for this. What we're going to be doing in this half of the video is we're going to be experimenting with PC Building Simulator mods. Yes, you heard that right, mods. Now, I only realized this a few 2 weeks before. I heard about this months ago as of recording this video. I knew there was a thing that mods were you could mod this game, because it's pretty easy to do. The creators and the developers of this game haven't exactly made the code completely hard to lock down completely. It's an indie game. They're relatively easy to mod. However, I only tried to experimenting with the mods just recently in the past couple of weeks. Now, although it's an indie game and it's very easy to make mods for, the mods themselves, because there's no actual mod launcher or no specific way to install mods in this game, it's a pain in the ass to do. I'm not gonna lie, it's really quite difficult. But what we're going to be doing today is I did have a video planned where we would experiment with some NVIDIA Quadro GV100s. Now, if you didn't know what those cards are, basically NVIDIA have their consumer grade GPUs, which is your 1060s, 1070s, RTX 2080s, 2080 Ti's, and crap like that. But the Quadro series are very much like the Titan XPs or the Titan RTX or Titan Vs, for example. they're very high-end graphics cards that are not readily available to the consumer because they're very, very expensive. I mean, you can buy them as a consumer and stick them in your PC, of course, but they're more for powerhouse users who are trying to run like a massive server. They're more like server-grade GPUs. Like, we've built server PCs before, you know, and put two 2080 Ti's in them. 2080 Ti's are not built for that sort of for servers at all. They're not powerful enough. That's why you have things like your Quadros and your Titan XPs and Titan Vs. They're more for servers because of how powerful they are. Like, just to put it on example, a Quadro GV100 is 32 gigs of video RAM, and to put that into perspective, a 2080 Ti has 11 gigs each, and so to have two of those in is not it. That's 22, so that's not even up to one Quadro. So now the clock speeds are not exactly the fastest, but considering what it's used for, it's perfectly fine. And the Titan Vs and the Titan XPs and stuff like that are exactly the same, but they're made for servers, for powerhouse users. So, yeah, so that's what that's for. But but when I tried to boot that up, because the PC mod, the mod itself is quite old. It was made quite a while ago, so it's not actually working with this current update. So there is another mod called Custom GPU Maker, which I might try and mod it so I can have quadro spec like graphics card in this game that we can benchmark. But for the warrant of like, I might do it, I might not do it. There is a mod to have Titan Vs in this game, a mod called CEO Titan V, but I'm not entirely sure whether we're going to do that or not. I'll have a go, see what happens. But anyway, what we've got today is we've got a mod which allows us to put into our system a Intel Xeon Platinum 8180. Now, it's a 3.8 gigahertz PC CPU that runs at 28 cores. Now, if you are not aware, you've got your 9980XEs and your 9780XEs. These are server-side CPUs, right? By anybody's standards, right? 18 cores, 4.4. This was what server-side CPUs used to be like. The Intel Xeon was server-side CPUs. Now, they weren't built for gaming because of the high core counts and high speeds. They were not built for gaming. If you tried to get, you could get. I'm not saying you couldn't get on one of these things, but to game on one of these things, you wouldn't get as far as you would think. But it was for putting up with servers with high workloads, hence the 28 cores. Now we've got things like Threadrippers. Threadripper CPUs, where's the 32 cores of 4.2 gigahertz, so they're a bit redundant now. And even so, if we go Neons, we got 18 cores, it's slightly less cores, but much higher clock speed, so they work a bit better, and the speed per clock is also better, so it makes it more of an upgrade anyway than the Neons. But this CPU in particular, now this is the only CPU that came with the mod, the only Neon CPU that came with the mod, and there's a reason for that. This particular CPU is a bit more of a powerhouse than people may think it is, considering it's such an old CPU. Now, I'm not entirely sure how this is going to benchmark. I don't want that. I don't want a lowly, boring i5 CPU. I don't want a boring i5 CPU. I want the Neon CPU. But there's a lot of things I'm not sure how well this is going to bench. I just want to put that out there. I don't know how well this is going to go. From what I've seen, it benches quite high, but I don't actually know personally. I've never benched one myself. I don't really intend to bench one myself because I don't intend to spending 2-3 grand on a CPU just for the one to test it benchmarking. I'm sorry. But what's interesting about this CPU is that I might have to just take this fan out because it's going to be getting in my way, I think. The CPU, this fan is getting in my way. Now, what's interesting about this CPU is that because of how old it is, it may run into some difficulties. I don't know what, but it may run into some difficulties. And just for anybody who's interested, as far as what we're running spec-wise, now, as you can see, 8180 is a 10 grand CPU. Now, I'm not sure if that is actually what it is, or whether that's just what the developers of the mod put in just to make life easy for themselves. It might not be, it might be, I'm not entirely sure. So don't quote the game on that, because it's the mod developers, it's the mod creator might not just want to make his life easier sort of thing. It's a bloody expensive CPU, I know that. It's above 3 grand. So this is all system info and 3D Mark. But just for the warrant of, if anybody's interested, spec-wise, this has got a ASRock Z390 Phantom Gaming 9. I'm going to talk about something in a second, which, just to, as I'm saying, I'll put this out now. This is not a correct spec for this CPU. I'm just putting that out there now. The spec that we've got in this PC at the moment is not correct for this CPU, and I'll explain it in a second. So we've got an ASRock, Z390 Phantom Gaming 9. We've got the Xeon Platinum. We've got 750 watt Antec high current gamer. We've got 64 gigs of RAM. We've got 2 AMD Radeon 6s or 7s. I'm not very good with Roman numerals. I only chose this because these have got 16 gigs of video RAM in each. So I'm just interested to see how they bench anyway. We've done a video on them already, but I can't remember what the score was out of them. So I'll just want to bench them again just for my own personal satisfaction. We've got a Patriot Viper VP 4100 M.2 1TB, and then we've got our fans and whatnot. So that's the that's the liquid cooler. That's just a fan. Now, while this is benchmarking, I'm just going to explain why this system is not actually correct as far as PCs are concerned. This particular PC build that we've put together, the motherboard does not correlate to what actually would go on. I'm also interested to see. Oh, okay, it's just completely skipped the GPU. So it's just completely skipped the CPU. It's running on 80 degrees, so it might just be the case that it's already just benched it, but because it's not a recognized CPU, it won't actually bench it properly. Even though it's running much higher, 144 FPS, that's actually pretty impressive for two graphics cards. Anyway, while that's benchmarking, I want to mention a point. Now, this system that we've got together is not correct if you want to put a system together with this graphics card. It doesn't. Sorry, with this CPU, it does not work. This motherboard is a Z390 board. It's not designed for Neon. It's too new for Neon. Just to say, please excuse me if I butcher the name of this. I don't know whether it's Xeon or whether it's Neon. I teeter between the two. You'll see that in this video. I teeter between Xeon and Neon. I don't know which one it is. The way it's spelled makes it seem like Neon. And I've just blue screened. Okay. But this PC is not correct for the system that we've got. I'm not sure what the actual chipset for this CPU is, but I know for certain it's not Z390. So please, for the love of God, do not put this system together as I've done it yourself, please, because it's not going to work. Your CPU, first of all, the Neon CPU will not fit in Z390. It's too big. The CPU is too big for Z390. It's a massive CPU. It's not going to work. Secondly, a Z390 CPU's only got 4 RAM slots. A Neon CPU, more often than not, has 8. It may have 16, but I don't know. I can't remember. I know it's definitely not 4. It's definitely more than 4. And also, these graphics cards would not work with a Neon motherboard either, and also don't have PCI Express slots anyway. No, not PCI, M.2 slots either. So please, for the love of God, please do not, under any circumstances, try and put this system together yourself. It does not work. It's not going to work. Just for the warrant that, you know, I think that I don't want somebody to turn up in the comment section saying I spent 13 grand on a PC and we're using the parts you put in this building has not worked. I know, I'm just saying it now, this is wrong, but there's no part of this system that is actually right. The only thing that's right is how everything except the CPU goes into place. The cooler itself will not work on Neon. It just won't. So there's a lot of stuff in this PC that actually is very incompatible, and if you run it through a compatibility thing, it would not work at all. There's nothing in here. Like, if I was building this for myself, I'd put the CPU in a server-side board, sorry. and stick like 128 gigs of RAM in it. That's how I would do it. But it's only compatible with Z390 because that's what the mod creators have chosen to put it in. Now it says if I go into Neon, yeah, see LGA 1131 Coffee Lake, which is Z390. You would probably get better at putting it in a 2066, even though it still won't fit. But that's the sort of board that you're after for this sort of CPU. Again, it's not compatible. Don't try putting it in 2066 socket because it will not work. I'm just pointing that out. Now, I'm interested to see why this is blue screen. Now, it's most probably, if I go into our BIOS, does it recognize it in the BIOS? No, it doesn't. Oh, actually, no, it does. Here we go. Neon Platinum 2180, 3.8 gigahertz, 64 gigs of RAM. Can we enable our XMP profile? Yes. I don't know whether I should be doing that or not, but now in this game, it's saying you can't overclock that CPU. Now I don't know whether you can or not, but for the warrant of it, I don't want to try it. But let's just benchmark this again and see if it blue screens, because it might just be the case that I'll just have to throw up a benchmark anyway to show you where it benches. I have got images of it in case that this happened. And again, mods are not officially supported in this game. I just thought it'd be nice to have a faff about with a mod to see what happens. But I do know that Neon does completely thrash most other CPUs of its time out of the water, maybe even some today. But I think it's when it finishes its benchmark, it turns around and says that I'm not dealing with this, you can sod off. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens. Is it going to crash? If it blue screens on me, I'm not going to try it again. If it blue screens on me this time, I'm just going to leave it. Because it's most probably just the case that the time display is incompatible with the Neon CPUs. I mean, it's nice that we've like experimented with it, but I've explained that PC that we put the Neon CPU in is completely wrong. You should not do that because it will not work in any circumstances. Saying that though, oh, that is not right, or is it? I'm very interested by this. It's absolutely destroyed the 2080 Ti's and the 2080 Supers. Just putting that out there. This is a 16 gig RAM graphics card in Crossfire. Just put that out there. Is that right though? 18. What's that? That's 6,200. I can understand why that's so quick then. Nearly up 20k. You know, I mean, we haven't overclocked. We can't overclock the CPU anyway. I don't know whether you can in real life or not, but is that right then? Because that's technically like 1,869,000. I don't think that's quite right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just cut ahead in the video and just have a look on the internet and see if that is actually a correct benchmark. So I'll be back in a second. Alright guys, I'm back. Now, I've been looking around the internet. Now, I admit that this CPU is old as hell, and I'm not gonna act like it's not. But my God, trying to find a benchmark score for this CPU, my God, I must have been released at a time when either 3D Mark was very early on in its stages or it didn't exist. Now, I know 3D Mark's been a thing since 2001, so it's most probably in its early stages when the CPU was released. Because my God, you cannot find benchmarks for the CPU at all. What I was trying to do, just to get a bit of perspective on whether it was right or not, I was trying to get a benchmark on this CPU, and then comparing it to a benchmark on the 9900K, which then would tell me the difference between them and whether it's a realistic bench or not. Now, I managed to find it in the end on a website called Passmark, which I've used before. I really should have used those to start with, but I tried to use CPU Boss, but I didn't get anywhere. But the 9900K scored just over 20,000, right? Which is fair enough, and except we also have Intel's top range consumer CPU. Then on the other side, we had the 8180 Neon, which scored 44,000. Now, that's more than double what the 9900K is. Now, I'm not saying that this is right, because to have it as 1,869,000 is a bit off the chart. You know, to have it score 6,272 FPS is a bit much. That I think is completely wrong. But to have it score that much in comparison with the 9900K, I know it's a monster of a CPU, but if we look at the 9900K, for example, 9900K, it's an 8-core CPU, but it's got 5 gigahertz in it. but it's Intel's top range CPU. Now, I know it's not a 900K. Now, I know it's not a server-side CPU. I mean, you can use it for server-side CPU. I wouldn't recommend it, but you can do it for that purpose. But considering the nature of this CPU, it's quite like it's Intel's top-of-the-range CPU for consumers. So the fact that it's benching lower than an Intel Neon CPU from like in the golden age of CPUs, as it were, Intel's golden age, whatever you call that, but it's quite astonishing that that CPU is still benching really high. Now, the reason why it's benching so high is it's a 10 grand CPU. Now, that price 10 grand is right, because on Passmark, it was saying, because apparently you would often buy those CPUs in groups of 4 because they are server CPUs, so you would have like four of those CPUs running all at once, and it cost you, it said, to buy four at once in quad channel as apparently you would do normally with those CPUs, it will cost you 40k, like 40 grand. And I'm thinking, yeah, that is absolutely right, that price. They are 10 grand each then. I mean, they're most probably a little bit less now, but at the time of like when they were rife and big in the game, big in like servers, then that would be what how much they would cost. But my god, you know, that is completely wrong. I mean, if it turns out that is right and that is what it benches in Time Spy, then I will take my hat off and I'll say, look, I'm completely wrong, I apologize, but that is absolutely insane. But I don't think there's been a Time Spy on the Neon CPU yet, because I don't think they're compatible with Time Spy or 3D Mark. Again, I might be completely wrong. If somebody can find me that, then I'll by all means retract what I said. But my god, if that is right, that is insane. But yeah, so I found this quite interesting. I mean, this is just me pissing about with mods. Like, I didn't think that this would work. You know, I've been trying to do this type of thing for ages, trying to get it to work, and it hasn't worked. And the fact that I got one mod working, I'll take that as an achievement. I'll see you later. I'm done. I've retired from PC Building Simulator now. But anyway, that is about all our time for in this Let's See video here. I'd like to thank you all very much for watching. If you did enjoy, don't forget to smash that like button, hit that subscribe button for more awesome gaming content. If I can get another mod, I want to try and get that Titan V mod installed. Now, if we can get that Titan V mod installed along with this Intel Neon CPU, I want to see how high we can actually get it, albeit it probably is fake, like the score in itself, but I want to see how high we can get this benchmark score with the mods. So, anyway, hope you guys have enjoyed, and I shall see you all later. Bye!